Vote blue, get green. That's what David Cameron used to say about the Conservative Party a little more than 10 years ago. These days, it seems that Rishi Sunak and Jeremy Hunt, they're saying vote blue, scrap green, as the Tory leadership seems to be watering down some of its environmental pledges, not least in the aftermath of the Tories holding that West London seat of Uxbridge and South Ruislip amidst huge opposition for Sadiq Khan's extension of the London ULEZ congestion scheme. What are Sunak's energy's moves? He's just said he wants to grant 100 new North Sea oil and gas drilling licences. Keir Starmer, of course, he wants to scrap any new licences for oil and gas drilling in the North Sea. Sunak wants to max out the remaining North Sea reserves. Why? Because we still are in the UK, despite the move to renewables. There it is, a fossil fuel nation. Believe it or not, oil and gas still accounts for 3/4 of all the energy that we use in this country, if you consider electricity generation, heating and, vitally, transport. And half of that 3/4, that's 3/8, kids, that comes from the North Sea, the UK's main oil and gas production centre. North Sea production has absolutely plummeted over recent years. Back in the year 2000, we had almost 3 million barrels a day of oil and over 1.5 million barrels of oil equivalent of gas, making us one of the biggest energy exporters in Europe. Since then, there's been a big drop-off, and from 2025, that drop-off in North Sea production is going to continue, even if these new licences are granted. That's why we're relying ever more on imports of energy. LNG imports, that's liquefied natural gas coming from America, coming from Qatar in the Middle East, coming from Australia. They rose 74% in 2022, not least because the UK and the rest of Western Europe were trying to wean themselves off Russian oil and gas. Yet these LNG inputs, once you get the gas, you turn it into a liquid, you put it in a big ship, it goes across the sea with diesel fumes coming out of those ships. The carbon emissions are 3 times more for imported LNG into the UK than they are for our own North Sea gas. And that's something which the Prime Minister is emphasising. Can nuclear rescue us? Well, Hinkley Point, and there it is in the West Country, Europe's biggest building project. They say it will be ready in 2027, our first full-cycle nuclear power station for many, many years. Yet many industry sources say Hinkley won't come on stream until around the mid-2030s. And those small modular nuclear reactors that we hear so more about. The Energy Secretary, Grant Shapps, told me last week they hope to make a decision about who will produce them by 2029. 6 years just to make a decision, let alone to actually build the things. What about renewables? Well, here is the UK's energy mix. From 2000 to 2020, using coal to generate electricity absolutely plummeted. Gas is about the same, about 40%. But look, wind, solar, bioenergy and waste, they now produce a lot of our electricity. So why is it then that electricity prices here in the UK are still so expensive? And here they are compared to the rest of Europe. 45 euros per kilowatt hour. End user household electricity use, that's the cost. It's much less in France, it's much less in Spain. And look at the US. The EU average for electricity for end users household is 25 euros per kilowatt hour. In the UK, it is 45, despite the fact that we have so much more renewable energy. So this is why UK consumers pay more. And Sunak and Hunt, what they're trying to do is get clear blue water between themselves and the Labour Party, watering down these environmental pledges gradually, so hopefully in the end they can tell consumers that their energy bills will finally come down.